Welcome back to the deep dive.
Hey there. This is where we take what you've sent us.
Right, the sources, the articles, transcripts, notes, all that.
And we dive in, try to pull out what really matters.
Give you that shortcut to knowing what's what, basically.
Exactly. Think of us as guides through whatever information landscape you've handed us.
And today, wow, we're looking at something pretty intense. It's based on excerpts you provided from a House Committee on Oversight and Reform hearing.
That's right. The sources give us a real glimpse,
Yeah.
witness testimony, talk about evidence, some pretty sharp back and forth.
All focused on allegations against Representative Ilhan Omar.
Yeah.
So our mission today, pretty straightforward, walk you through the key claims made in that hearing.
What Representative Omar's response was, according to these sources.
And what the other significant points were from, well, everyone involved. Just helping you get a handle on what was said.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Your sources paint a picture. Formal room, sure, but kind of buzzing.
Yeah, murmurs, people shuffling papers.
Yeah.
You mentioned it was packed.
Packed, especially media. C-SPAN, CNN, Fox News, all there. Cameras rolling. Live broadcast.
Right, so real tension even before it officially starts.
Then Chairman Marcus Russell, gavel down. Silence.
And his opening. Formal, you said.
Very. Cut right to it.
Right.
Said the session was called to deal with, quote, grave allegations.
And he didn't waste time getting to the main point.
Nope. Laid it right out.
Yeah.
The committee was there because of the allegation that Representative Ilhan Omar, that she engaged in immigration fraud by marrying her own brother.
Wow. And he stressed this wasn't like breaking news.
Exactly. Said it had been floating around for years, but without a, quote, serious investigation.
And that such things must never be swept under the rug. Direct quote.
That's what your source says. And it notes Omar was actually there.
In the room.
Yeah, sitting there. Described as composed, arms crossed, her face inscrutable.
Intense. You also mentioned other names present. Caroline Leavitt, Ethan Caldwell, Abdi Hakim Osman.
Right, all adding to this sense of anticipation. Who's going to say what,
And Levite spoke up early.
She did. Your source connects her comments to a broader critique she has about perceived media bias favoring the left.
Okay.
And she was blunt. Asked directly if a sitting Congress member committed immigration fraud, said the, quote, Ilhan Omar scandal speaks for itself.
Okay, so setting the stage with some strong opinions there, then the details start coming out.
Yeah, this is where Ethan Caldwell comes in. He's identified as a former immigration official.
And he's the one detailing the persistent allegations, as they're called?
That's the term used. He states the core accusation explicitly. She's accused of marrying her brother to help him stay in the country by securing a green card.
Okay. And he also mentioned this wasn't new, but something had resurfaced.
Right. Similar to the chairman. Said evidence and footage from 2021, 2022 had popped up again.
Yep.
On viral again was the phrase used.
Which, according to him, is why people are asking now why it wasn't, quote, fully investigated.
That's the connection he made. And he talked about the history, too. Like, when the claims first surfaced years ago,
Omar dismissed them.
called them absurd, reportedly. But then Caldwell recounted how the media, according to the hearing discussion, found a scanned copy of a marriage certificate.
Ah.
And after that surfaced, Caldwell claimed she had no response, wouldn't comment specifically on it, called it personal.
Okay, so that leads us to this other witness, Abdi Hakim Osman, described as a key witness.
Yeah, significant. A, quote, respected figure in the Minneapolis Somali community, and someone who had apparently gone on record with the Daily Mail previously.
So his testimony under oath, what did the sources say about that?
Very direct, very specific. According to your material, he confirmed, without hesitation,
Okay.
that Representative Ilhan Omar married her biological brother, Ahmed Said Elmi.
He named him.
Wow.
And provided details.
He did.
Yeah.
Specified the date, February 2009, and the alleged reason.
For the immigration document.
Exactly. To, quote, obtain legal immigration documents.
And he addressed her marital status at that time. Because that seems key.
Absolutely crucial to the allegation. He testified she was already religiously married to Ahmed Hirsi then.
Okay, so religiously married to one person.
But, and this is Osman's point in the testimony, that religious marriage wasn't like officially on the books under Minnesota state law.
Ah, the legal distinction.
Precisely. Which, he claimed, meant she was legally able to marry Elmi on paper.
And Osman framed this how? As an accident. A misunderstanding.
No, The opposite. According to the source, he asserted this was not a misunderstanding. It was a, quote, deliberate, planned effort.
Specifically to get her brother a green card.
That was his explicit claim in the testimony described.
Okay, that's quite the accusation on the record. So how did Representative Omar respond right there in the hearing?
Well, your sources say she pushed back hard, called the allegations absurd. So, we've been through this before, labeled them baseless accusations.
Okay.
Yeah, fabricated by those who are either misinformed or have a political agenda. That was her framing.
And did she challenge Osman directly?
She did. Asked him straight up, where's your proof? Said without evidence, it's all just rumors.
A direct challenge. So Osman's response. Did he offer proof when asked?
The source says he, gestured to documents. Mentioned proof the media uncovered years ago.
Like the marriage certificate again?
Yeah. Cited the marriage certificate, the signatures. Also mentioned firsthand accounts from those who witnessed it.
Okay. Anything else?
He also brought up another document, described as a record from the Christian minister who officiated the ceremony.
Oh, did the minister testify?
No, he acknowledged the minister refused comment now. But Osman argued her existence and recollections were undeniable. So he was relying on sort of the existence of these documents and accounts as his proof.
Got it. It sounds like things were getting pretty heated. Did the chairman step in?
Yeah, Chairman Russell intervened. Said something like, we're not here for political theater. We're here to get to the truth.
Trying to steer it back.
Seems like it. He acknowledged Omar's denials, absurd, baseless, politically motivated.
Yeah.
But then he said, denial alone isn't enough. And importantly, also said that without solid evidence, these allegations remain mere rumors.
So kind of drawing a line between accusation and proven fact.
Yeah, that seems to be the gist. He really emphasized the seriousness, too. Said this wasn't just a tabloid rumor,
Right.
but a serious allegation that questions the integrity of our immigration system and, quote, frankly, the integrity of this institution itself.
Strong words. Did he talk about consequences?
He did. Didn't pull punches. Said if the allegations turn out to be true, well, El Moid should be deported.
And for Omar.
She should face criminal charges. Very stark.
Wow. Okay. Then the discussion broadened out again. You mentioned Carolyn Leavitt.
Right, she came back in. Your sources say she linked this specific case to what she called a much bigger problem.
Which was?
Politicians escaping accountability for things she argued would put any regular American in prison.
Did she give an example?
She did. Used Hillary Clinton's email situation. The source lists the points she made. Running a private server, deleting 33,000 emails under subpoena,
Okay.
bleaching hard drives, smashing phones, and Levi's point was, in her view, nothing happened. No criminal charges.
And she used that to frame her view on Omar.
Exactly. Accused Omar of hypocrisy.
Right.
Said she was, quote, lecturing conservatives while facing these serious allegations herself, plus other claims mentioned like questionable foreign ties and anti-American rhetoric.
So bringing in other criticisms as well.
Yeah, widening the scope of the critique.
This sounds like it leads into another contentious point mentioned in your sources, something about a video clip.
Ah, yes. The source describes a moment where a grainy video appears on the screen.
Introduced by Chairman Russell.
Yes.
Yeah.
He introduces it as Representative Omar speaking at an event.
And the interpretation offered.
Russell claimed that if you don't speak Somali, you'd miss the crucial detail. His allegation was that in the clip, she wasn't pledging allegiance to the U.S., but was, quote, pledging loyalty to Somalia.
Okay, that's a serious claim about loyalty. How did Levi react to that?
The sources say she jumped right on it. Questioned Omar directly based on that interpretation.
Asking,
which country do you serve? Directly challenged her loyalty as a U.S. Congresswoman who swore an oath to the U.S., yet was allegedly declaring allegiance elsewhere.
Okay, heavy stuff. How did Representative Omar respond to that? The video, the loyalty challenge?
Called the idea she's a foreign operative absurd, completely ridiculous.
And the context of the clip, her explanation.
She explained she was addressing my community immigrants, refugees, encouraging them, she said, to take pride in where they come from.
And then she asked,
is that a crime now? Basically challenging the interpretation of her words.
Did she address the hypocrisy charge Levite made?
She did. Flipped it back on Levite and the Republicans. Asked why the standard for proving patriotism never seems to apply to some members of Congress.
Expanding the argument.
And went further. Accused Leavitt and her party, according to the source, of enabling things like corruption, conspiracy theories, and outright criminality under the Trump administration.
Specific example.
Mentioned pushing stolen election claims without a shred of evidence.
So, a strong counterattack.
Definitely. She concluded Levi wasn't really concerned about hypocrisy, just power.
And Levite's response to that.
Also sharp. Agreed it was about power, but argued it belonged to the American people, not in the hands of politicians who think they're untouchable.
Wow. Quite an exchange described there.
Yeah.
So how did the hearing wrap up? Chairman Russell again.
Yes, he brought it to a close, made a statement, something like, we don't determine truth by ignoring accusations,
Okay.
and reiterated that immigration fraud is not a joke, especially involving a high-profile politician,
Underscoring the seriousness again.
and emphasized the committee's duty to the law, to the American people.
And the final step, the recommendation.
Yes, the crucial part from the source. He formally recommended that this committee open a formal investigation into the allegations against Representative Ilhan Omar.
So not just a hearing, but recommending a full investigation.
That was the outcome described. Then, hearing adjourned, and the source states the investigation has begun.
And just briefly, the aftermath described lots of buzz.
Oh, yeah. Halls buzzing, media going wild, dissecting it, pundits arguing on TV, social media exploding, all focused on what went down in that hearing room.
And the reactions of Omar and Levite afterwards.
Omar's response as she left was reportedly composed. The truth always prevails.
And Levite.
Watched the coverage, reportedly stated her satisfaction with the outcome.
Okay. That is certainly a lot packed into one hearing based on these excerpts.
It really is. You've got these, very serious allegations, specific testimony claiming direct knowledge.
Discussions of documents, potential evidence, but also these really intense political clashes woven throughout.
Yeah, arguments about accountability, who's a hypocrite, questions of loyalty. It's all in there.
It paints a really complex picture from the source material, doesn't it? Claims, counterclaims, flat-out denials.
And open talk about political agendas and biases on all sides.
Right.
So, I guess, as you, the listener, process all this information from the hearing based on the sources we've unpacked, it really raises a question, doesn't it?
Yep.
When you have these serious, long-running allegations against someone powerful,
Yeah.
and you hear conflicting stories, denials, challenges, claims of political motivation,
Yeah.
how do you evaluate all that? How do you try to figure out what you think the truth might actually be?
That's a tough one. It really gets to the core of how we navigate complex information today, especially when politics is involved, something to definitely think about.